There's a single question that I've been trying to figure out for my entire life. Why do some people get to live these super fun, adventurous, interesting lives of their dreams, and I have to deal with fucking Bob? Hey Lon.
I don't fucking care, Bob.
This obsession led me to creating what I thought I wanted out of life, in the form of moving abroad. Doing all the fun, exciting things I thought I wanted out of life. Then realizing it's all the same everywhere, at least for me. Shortly after, I moved back home and found myself in maybe the worst spiral of my life. I was dealing with the loss of a loved one, readjusting to the culture, working at an airline during the pandemic, which is really like paid abuse. Someone literally spit at me over the phone, like I heard it leave and I heard it hit the floor. Couple that with the worst accident of my life, and that led me back to that question. Why do some people get to live these super fun, interesting, fulfilling lives of their dreams? Am I just not one of the chosen ones that have a passion, have clarity? After countless hours of research, podcasts, and blog posts, I found it wasn't any of that. It's actually only about 4 things I had to do to get myself onto this path where things feel mostly effortless, and most importantly, the excitement of life is there again on a daily basis. Now, this is just what worked for me. I'm not promising it will work for you, but you can give it a shot. The first thing I noticed a lot of these people had in common was that they used the carrot and stick approach to their life. Carrot and stick means using a combination of reward and punishment, specifically to the most important question about building their dream life. Why? Author Simon Sinek, writer of Start With Why, describes this as how you explain your purpose and the reason you exist and behave as you do. This why is going to inspire our actions, and this is where the carrot and stick becomes very important. Because to begin building the momentum to escape our current version of life, it's not enough to want a nice house or to provide more for our family. It's the things that we don't want that will give us the motivation to deal with the hard times. My why revolved heavily around providing security for my family, pursuing something I love, and having location independence, but also extreme hate for not having a choice in what I do for 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week for the majority of my life, working with people I really don't want to, or not being able to afford medical care for a loved one if the situation arose. And that's what gave me the drive to actually start pursuing something after long days of work. The next step was getting the direction. I knew why I wanted what I wanted, but I didn't know how I was going to get there. The only thing I knew for certain that I loved doing was playing soccer, but I was already in my late 20s at that time, so that ship had sailed. And that's probably how you're feeling right now, that the ship is sailing on the things that you want to pursue. That's when I stumbled upon a TED Talk that provided so much clarity on this question of, what do I do? Stanford professors and creator of the Life Design Lab, Bill Burnett and Dave Evans, posed an amazing question. Imagine for a moment that the multiverse is real and you lived separate lives in each of these, and you were aware of these separate lives that you lived in each multiverse. So you could pop into one multiverse and there you're the soccer player that you wanted to be, and in another you're the author that you wanted to be, or the game designer that you wanted to be. You could have all of these at the same time. How many lives would you be? The average is about 7.5, but in reality, at least this reality, we only get to choose one. This is the most important part of making the journey mostly effortless. The reason we struggle to do the things we want to do is because of the invisible mental barriers. The perceived difficulty of the task, the learning curve, the time required, the money in some cases, but some things we gladly sink hours into, like playing sports, drawing, or watching a new banger series. In some cases, we sink money gladly into consoles and monitors, but we don't feel that payment of time or finances as much because it's an interest. What this question does is reconnect us to the things that interested us throughout our lives. things we want to indulge in because they feel like entertainment or play. After exploring the alternative lives I had and judging them based on even remote possibility of it coming true, I said goodbye to the rapper, soccer player, and writer versions of me and chose to create the reality where I become a documentary filmmaker. Quick caveat, it's really important to test out all of these interests before you dive completely into them, because you may find that it's really short-lived, like I found out after 4 episodes of podcasting, or you may stumble upon a gold mine for passion like I did with video. My interest and my why were dialed in. Now was the most challenging part of this entire process, building the momentum. Our lives have a gravitational pull to it. The bills, exhausting work days, after work routines, and expectations from our relationships. And it's not an easy process to just start something new, especially something that requires effort. Think of the last time you started a gym routine. At first, it's really difficult to make the decision to go. Then we run on willpower for a couple of weeks. Then something changes and it begins to feel really good. It's becoming a habit and it's easy to go during that time. But ultimately, about a month or 2 in, something happens and we fall out of routine. And then it becomes really challenging just to begin to go to the gym once again. I'd experienced so many failures in the past attempting to build new habits that I was prepared for this moment. I knew the way to see this through was to lower the bar. I asked myself these 2 questions. What was the easiest thing to begin to learn? And what's the least amount of effort I'd accept to feel like I made progress toward my goal in a day? I chose to learn video editing first because it was free, I didn't have to leave the house, and I could earn money from it the fastest. And my one rule was this: I opened the program every day. Multiple days in a row, I literally just got out of bed, opened the program, closed the program, and went back to bed. And I know that it sounds stupid, but I found that hitting these small goals consistently, no matter how low hanging the fruit, to be the most important part of building emotional momentum and discipline. Author and habit leader James Clear calls this identity-based habits, where you try to become the type of person that does something rather than aim at a goal. Going back to our gym metaphor, in his example, if we're trying to build a consistent gym habit, rather than aim to lose 50 pounds, we should aim for being the type of person who moves every day. And he sums this up very beautifully in his book Atomic Habits. Every action you take is a vote for the person you wish to become. With momentum building in the direction of the life I wanted and a powerful why in place, the last thing was to ensure that I could sustainably stay on the path. I noticed a trend in the interviews I listened to of successful but unhappy people feeling as if they sacrificed too much, they said no too much. And I didn't want to end up with that same feeling, arriving at a destination just to regret the journey. The answer came in this concept of labeling a season. For a 20-year-old, it may be a season of work, so that you can never worry about money during your first season of parenthood. And for someone in their 40s, it may be a season of reinventing yourself and getting out of a rut. What I love about the season metaphor is that it's a confined time period. It allows us to feel the difficult emotions associated with doing something hard. A season is finite, and knowing that there's an end to the difficult beginner and middle stages where we often have to sacrifice a little more than we're used to makes it easier to accept because we know there's a transformation at the end of it. I dedicated myself to a season of growth, and doing this made it very easy to say no to things that would stop me from pursuing my goals and say yes to things that energized me or added value to my life. Honestly, it made complicated decisions very, very simple. Did I want to go out and party, or did I want to improve my life? I wanted to go out and party. I found that a lot of uncomfortable emotions arose, especially when I declined things I wanted to do, or when I was tired from my main job or dealing with something personal. The best I've ever heard this addressed was by rapper and entrepreneur Nipsey Hussle.
You are going toward what the vision look like, and that's like greatness. That's, you know, on multiple levels. That's the vision that I'm working toward. So I'm like, I just think about that, like this shit ain't supposed to feel, you know, comfortable. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. It's supposed to stretch you. It's supposed to be a burden to a degree. And you gotta, you know, wrap your mind around that and accept it and embrace it. And you catch some wisdom off of that.
And whilst everyone isn't pursuing greatness like Nipsey Hussle, the message is very clear. In order to attract the lives of our dreams, we need to do things that we haven't done before. Those feelings we don't like are going to appear. The fear, the anxiety, the doubt, the feeling that we're wasting our time. But that's not a sign that we're doing something wrong. It's just a sign that we're doing something we haven't done before. We're walking on our own paths. Now, I'm not pretending to know everything, so I'd love to know what things have worked for y'all in pursuing your goals and your passions. Leave them in the comments below. And of course, smash like for your boy. And if you want to see the second part to this video, then click on the video that comes up after.